let's talk about the Middle Ages and some of the crucial myths that surround it. Let's go. And so, when did the term Middle Ages appear? Who invented it and why? The beginning of the Middle Ages is marked by the fall of the western part of the Roman Empire in 476. But the eastern part of this empire continued to live and flourish for another 1,000 years. When Constantinople fell in 1453, thousands and thousands of educated people began to leave and run away from the once center of Christianity, who settled mainly geographically and culturally in the closest refuge of Christianity, on the Apennine Peninsula in Italy. Local residents of the Italian city-states began to become more and more interested in the culture and worldview of the visiting Greeks and Armenians, who called themselves Romans, and unlike Western Europeans, they never lost their hereditary connection with the ancient Roman Empire. That culture, which once originated in Rome, was almost completely lost in Rome itself, 1,000 years after its fall. The Byzantines brought with them books, knowledge, technologies that came straight from classical antiquity, laying the foundations for the culture of the revival of Greco-Roman ideas and the Renaissance. The term Middle Ages itself was first coined by Leonardo Bruni in his work History of the People of Florence, which marked the time between the fall of the Roman Empire and the Renaissance. This time was different from antiquity in the knowledge of a new faith, Christianity, but it was also different from the New Time, which coincided with such events as the discovery of the Americas and the fall of Constantinople. First of all, such periodization had ideological reasons in order to set a clear boundary between the new, prosperous time and the time that, among other things, led to the final fall of Rome in 1453. At the same time, such radicalization of time intervals gave rise to many myths about Dark Ages, for example, the fact that there are no historical texts left from that time, or that people in the Middle Ages did not use baths at all. Such myths, for the most part, do not correspond to reality, and the Middle Ages as a term was invented already during the High Renaissance, as well as the term Byzantium, from which we can assume that these concepts are nothing else than a clumsy historical construct, which not only was not relevant at one time, but also gave rise to an incorrect perception of the timeline and also many irrelevant stereotypes. So, before you take such terms seriously, please first delve into history and understand how much classical and popular historiography are trying to confuse you and convince you of the exclusivity of the Western European powers of the times of Enlightenment. Stay curious, folks.